I want to begin sharing the perspective that Pat Mooney has put in front of us. We have 15 months to change tragedy, the tragedy of Copenhagen and the tragedy of Cancun. If we are going to be able to change that tragedy. What happened in Cancun, the governments approved during in 4 degrees Celsius. What happened in Cancun is that the governments agreed to increase the temperature in this century in 4 degrees Celsius. That is unsustainable for human life and for nature. That is why Bolivia stands there, and we didn't care to be alone, because we cannot betray. We cannot betray the people, we cannot betray nature, we cannot betray the first People's World Conference on Climate Change and Mother Earth, right? That was very clear in its conclusions. So I welcome the conclusions of the Social Movements Assembly that clearly underlines that Cancun was a tragedy that we must overcome. The second key issue is what is going to happen in Durban in South Africa is key for Rio+20. In the UN, they are discussing what they call synergy. The good things that happen in a convention have to be transplanted to the rest of the conventions that are or that deal with the environment. So, if in South Africa new markets are approved, new forest markets are approved, they are going to try to extend that in Rio+20 to markets, to environmental services, to water, and to all other aspects of nature. So it is key to have a victory in South Africa if we want to be prepared for Rio, because they are going to use all the advances they can get in South Africa in order to say in Rio, let's do the same. So we have to strengthen the force of the Committee of the 17 in South Africa. From our point of view, in Rio+20, the discussion is between markets for nature or rights of nature. Those are the two approaches, and that is the great challenge that we have. Are we going to keep treating our Mother Earth, nature, as a thing, as an object, or we are going to begin to treat it as our home, as something that has life, a system to which we belong, and we must preserve. We have the right to exist. Nature has the right to exist. We have the right to reproduce. Nature has also the right to reproduce. And this is something that we want to fight for. And this is the paradigm. This is our goal toward Rio+20. They just want to repeat the same mistake they have committed during the last 2 centuries with capitalism. We want to change that. We want to overthrow capitalism through paradigm in our relation with nature, with Mother Earth, and that is the greatest challenge that we have in the next 15 months, and we can do it if we work together and united. Rio+20 has to do not only with environment, but also with development. But what is development? This is key, because sustainable development, if it's going to be to follow up the same paths of development of the North, Earth, this planet is not going to support us. It is not possible. The paths of development of the North are unsustainable. We need to promote other paths of living in harmony between humans and with nature. This is key for Rio+20. When we speak about vivir bien, living well, it can have different names in different parts of the world, but means, yes, we want to have access to water, we want to have access to education, to health, But we cannot follow up that path of development where you have 2 cars, where you only go to consume and buy and buy and buy and think that you are more because you have more things on your pocket. This has to change if we want to have a new life for humankind, a new life for nature. So this is the other biggest challenge. We have to discuss the paradigm of development that is really bringing us to a great disaster because it is unsustainable. And the third thing that's going to be discussed in Rio+20 is the new institutional framework that will deal with sustainable development of our environment. That is in the agenda of the UN. And 2 things are key. The issues that haven't been brought into the environmental agenda have to be brought in. Water. It's a tragedy that water is still outside the UN. It has to be inside. Second thing, civil society and social movements. It is not possible that when we speak about civil society, the private sector has the same weight that civil society and social movements. We need to have a coordination, a participation inside Rio+20 that really highlights that social movements, the people are in front and not the private sector, not the corporation. And we can make it together. Thank you.
Friends, we have listened to all the speakers, and from what they are saying, a number of proposals have emerged. And we are going to divide the next hour for us to, we will make a summary of the proposals, and then we will open the floor for discussions on the proposals and additions to the proposals. It is important that we don't repeat the very things that we had discussed. Okay. So, I think there was common cause. All the speakers raised the following. Can everybody hear me? The first one was that we needed to build a roadmap. The first point was that we needed to build a roadmap of resistance, a roadmap from now right through to Rio, and that we needed to use all the moments along the way to ensure that we build momentum. That was the first point. Second point that came was that we needed to build a common platform, a platform of demands, a platform around which we can mobilize. The third point was that we needed to create a strong coordination that is global, that is transparent, a coordination that will take into account all the global issues that were raised today. And the coordination must be a link between COP17 and Rio. I think the last point that came up was that we needed a speaker for tomorrow. That, I think, is a summary of what people had raised here today. We are proposing that we speak to those points and we add to that framework that has emerged. We are going to invite the first speaker to open this session.
Alex Zenotelli from the Coordinador Italiano para Agua Pública.
Good evening to all of you. I am coming from Italy. I speak in the name of Italy for reclaiming public water. Excuse me. Thank you. Just a second, I'll be very brief. In Italy, we had the first parliament in Europe that decided that water is privatized. It is a law of the Italian parliament in 2008. The first time that this ever happened. In Italy we have now we have been given over to private water. What we want to bring to Rio, we have already started the march. We were able to get in Italy 1,400,000 signatures asking for a referendum. Now we are in march for a referendum to abrogate the Italian law and return so that water be in public hands. We feel that the water is a fundamental human right. If we lose this, if we lose the battle on water, we have lost everything. We should be able really to, in Italy, to obtain a great victory, and we hope to be able to bring it to Rio. This will be our contribution, and we hope that this will be done in the rest of Europe. It's a common struggle. Let us save water, because water is life. Thank you very much.